Hi everybody, I'm John Q. Traveler, and that's Jane Q. Traveler, and we're just driving up the 15 on our way to Vegas. And, oh my gosh, what is that?
Wow, that's a strange name for an exit.
It sure is, Jane. I guess we'll just drive right on past and keep going to Vegas.
If you've ever driven on Interstate 15 between Los Angeles and Las Vegas, you've probably noticed this exit sign.
It's pronounced Zzyzx, and it leads to a desert oasis of sorts that has a history just as unusual as the name suggests.
Today we're exploring Zzyzx, coming up on Oddity Odysseys. So we read online that Zzyzx Road is open to the public during daylight hours, but on the other hand, we also heard it's been closed since 2020. So we're not quite sure if the road is open.
We'll just have to see.
As we mentioned before, Zzyzx is about halfway between LA and Vegas along Interstate 15. The exit itself is about 6.5 miles west of Baker. Just look for the sign, and after exiting, head south for another 4.5 miles. Road closed 500 feet.
I think this is one of the gates right here that's open. Gate is locked sunset to sunrise. Day use area only.
Did we get into the road that we wanted to go on?
I think we're good to go. Now we just have another 4.5 miles to go.
What does this say? Mojave National Preserve, not a through road, no off-road access.
The only place we're going is the only place this road leads. Oh, it looks like part of the road washed out right here.
Uh-oh.
Got some cones up.
So thousands of years ago, this whole area in front of us was known as Lake Mojave.
Nowadays it's dried up and it's known as Soda Lake. But one of the springs that fed the lake is actually still in existence, and that's where we're headed.
So we are in search of a real-life oasis in the desert.
So it would seem.
So we drove through miles of desert and we have found an oasis, which is also known as Lake Tuendae.
Here it is.
And there's even a couple of ducks out here. It's very serene, very peaceful.
Yeah, it's a very nice spot.
Tuendae is the Native American word for where the waters come together. And then if you can see right in the middle here is an island.
Yep.
It's called Enrico Caruso Island.
It's got a fountain on it.
Yeah, it's turned on. We didn't expect that to be running. Oh, he knows it too.
Yeah, the ducks are honking at us.
Need a little bit more to check out down this way.
Yeah.
We've been finding a few of these signs around the lake.
Yeah.
And you can definitely tell that this has been here for a while.
Right.
Which makes sense that at one point the place was abandoned and then refurbished and all that other stuff. But it even says a lost lake. A lost lake that we found.
It's very hard to read, though.
Yeah, the fine print is a little scratched up.
What is that, a zebra or a giraffe?
Some elephants. The information that we'll never know.
Yep. So in walking around this lake, I've noticed the sharp contrast between the dry Soda Lake over here and Lake Tuendae over here, which looks very constructed to me. I mean, these palm trees are almost in a straight line. So this area had to have been built by somebody, but who would bother to build a lake way out here? The answer may surprise you. In 1944, a radio evangelist named Curtis Howe Springer rediscovered the Soda Springs area. He quickly filed a mining claim to these 12,800 acres, but instead of mining, he decided to open a health spa on the property and renamed the area Zzyzx Mineral Springs and Health Resort.
He named the resort Zzyzx because he wanted to promote it as not only the last word in health, but also the last word in the English language.
Thanks to Springer's popular radio program, over the next 30 years, health-conscious Christians flocked from all over California to enjoy soaking in the mineral pools and baths constructed here.
So I don't know if you can see it very clearly from where we're at, but the pool house pool is actually in the shape of a cross.
Oh yeah.
Which is really awesome. I've never seen a pool shaped like that before.
Uh-huh.
So this is the swimming area where guests would come to soak up the naturally hot mineral springs water. Turns out later it was actually Mojave River water, pumped in and then heated by boilers.
Ah.
So not as legit as the beautiful hot springs that you find in the middle of the desert.
What a sham.
What a sham. Hey, there's no lifeguard on duty.
I think there's no water in the pool either. So if you're gonna dive in, jump from a high place.
So a lot of this area is closed off.
Yeah.
Bolted shut.
Yeah, this goes into the rest of the indoor baths, but it's bolted shut now. So for all you future YouTubers that were thinking of coming out here, good luck.
There's something just about an abandoned pool in the middle of the desert that I find really interesting.
Totally.
Touting himself as a reverend medical doctor and PhD,
I have my PhD in psychology.
Springer never actually finished high school and came to be known by the American Medical Association as the King of Quacks.
Guests were also treated to various questionable medical concoctions, made mostly from various vegetable juices, all for a modest profit, of course. Over the years, many complaints about Springer's products not actually working began to come in. But his biggest problem was that his mining claims in the area never actually gave him permission to develop it as a health resort. So in the 1960s, the Bureau of Land Management challenged the validity of his claims and charged him with violating mining laws. By 1974, Springer's unauthorized use of government land led to his abrupt eviction from the site by the Bureau of Land Management, leaving his resort utterly abandoned. So one of the major misconceptions about Zzyzx these days is that it's an abandoned ghost town. This property was actually purchased in 1976 by California State University, and now these buildings serve as their Desert Studies Center. So while there are still a few abandoned structures around, a lot of these buildings have been refurbished, rebuilt, and are still in use. The only other visual oddity that's easily noticeable here at Soda Springs is this long stretch of what looks like a gravel road leading off into the desert. This was actually at one time part of the Tonopah and Tidewater Railroad from 1907 to 1939. Subsequently, the route was abandoned and the tracks were reclaimed to be used as part of the war effort. But the footprint of this rail line still remains, leading in a straight line across Soda Lake to the town of Baker.
And it all makes for an interesting oasis stop on our way from LA to Vegas.
It really does. Definitely worth the 5-mile drive to get here.
Well, thanks so much for joining us on this roadside diversion. I guess we better hit the road.
Yep. If you'd like to come see Soda Springs for yourself, the gates are generally open during daylight hours, but the Desert Studies Center is closed to the public, so be sure to keep an eye on those signs.
And before you go, please be sure to hit that subscribe button and bell icon so YouTube can notify you when we release new adventures.
And we'll see you on the next Oddity Odysseys.
Actually, the last word in the Oxford English Dictionary is Zzyzx, a South American weevil typically found in palm trees.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any on these palm trees.
Seems to me they would be in good company. Linguistically, at least.
Let me try this one.